Merry Christmas, everybody. It is Christmas Eve. It is time to get down to some Week 16 action. We're one game into this, and there's a huge slate today, and there's an amazingly terrible slate tomorrow. So we're just going to knock everything out today because why not? And we
Happy
got some good
Hanukkah,
games.
everybody.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get
So
on ESPN. Don't mind me. Happy Hanukkah. Hope everyone's having a good one. No, I'm just playing. But
happy Kwanzaa
happy
Eve
Kwanzaa,
Eve.
happy Hanukkah. Yeah, everything.
Yeah.
Happy
We got a couple of
holidays.
days before Kwanzaa starts, but yeah. It's
But
all right, so let's get into it. We got I see Jay Pylon already in here. He's been in here for a minute.
yeah, shout out
Let's
Jay Pylon.
let's get into the games today. We got some doozies. Starting with this matchup with the Giants and the Vikings. Let's get right into it. Giants 4.5-point dogs. I totally get it. Even though they had that really good showing the other night against the Commanders, this is a different Minnesota Vikings team coming off that epic best comeback ever against a terrible Indianapolis team. But they're playing at home. The Giants come in. I think this matchup favors the Vikings very well in terms of how these two teams match up with one another. And there may be some prop plays in here that we can look at. What do you got?
Well, I do agree with you on the matchups part.
Mm-hmm.
The first thing that comes to mind when you're thinking about this game is, oh shit, nobody on the Giants can guard Justin Jefferson. But then you think about it, and it's like, oh well, nobody in the league can really. But at
Yeah.
the same time, you mentioned them being at home. They were at home last week. Amazing
Mm-hmm.
comeback. I'm not taking anything away from that. It was amazing. It was a great performance in that second half there. Great will to win and everything, and they showed true fight and all that. But I mean, you're talking about
Should have never been
uh
there.
you're talking about two rookie. Well, yeah, shouldn't have been there. Shouldn't have been down 30 to the Colts in the first place. The
Mm-hmm.
Colts high-powered offense should not be put up 30 and a half on you. But we're talking about two rookie coaches here, but one that's been here the whole season that is a strong candidate for coach of the year. If he's able to
Mm-hmm.
pull this one off, he might get it. But 4.5 points. I mean, I feel like they're giving a little treat with the Giants. I don't see how they can be favoring the Vikings after their performance last week, where they had to barely sneak that one out against the Colts. This is a lot better of a Giants team. Now, I do agree with you with the matchups, but I don't know, the NFL, man, it's wacky the way these things happen. I could see the Giants coming in here and sneaking this one out for a win. And I could also see the Giants losing by 14, 17 because they just can't slow down the Vikings offense at all. Yeah, I
Mm-hmm.
feel like it could go either way for me. So it's kind of a no play on the spread and money line and things like that. But I guess I would lean Giants keeping it close. I just feel like
Okay.
a better coach team. I mean, they're not, if they are able to get up like that, they're not. The Vikings aren't coming back against the Giants team. I don't think. But on the flip side, if the Vikings get up early, the Giants, they don't have any type of downfield presence where they can start coming back in a game. So they got to really keep it tight in order to stay in this game with the Vikings because that offense is amazing. But yeah, Justin Jefferson, I mentioned him. I mean, I feel like that's the way to go in this game. You got to.
Yeah.
There's nobody that can guard him.
Yeah.
Over 6.5 catches is at -128. So I'm thinking about throwing that in a parlay. We have a parlay that we'll give out later that I have that in. He's cashed that at 9 out of 14. Giant secondary depleted, not good anyway. Nobody can guard Justin Jefferson on that defense.
Mm-hmm.
And JJ's been on a tear. I mean, he's averaging 173 yards per game in the last two games with I think 11 and a half catches per game in the last two. They're targeting the fuck out of him. And I don't think it would be a bad idea to look at him, maybe even take a ladder on him or something like that. But
Right.
we're gonna throw that around, and I got another wide receiver that I think is gonna have a really big day today. So I'm thinking about maybe parlaying that your style of parlay, Chad, where you do like the
Okay.
101 touchdown for two guys. So when we get to that other game, I'll recircle and head back to Justin Jefferson as well. Anything else you're looking at in this game?
Well, I'm back. So just sticking on Justin Jefferson because I like him a lot in this game, and I like him like finishing out the season. Honestly, 3 weeks left, week 16, 17, and 18. He's sitting at 1,623
2K.
yards. He's got 2K in his sights,
Yep.
and I can't see them not trying to get him there and him not trying to get there. It's not even just about like the personal individual numbers. It's a path to success for them. Like this
Oh
is,
yeah, yeah,
and you
you're right.
saw it. You saw it last week where when they got down, when he popped that touchdown off, hit the gritty in the end zone, like it took it to another level, and the comeback ensued, and they were off to the races. So
Yeah, and
yeah,
he
I
wasn't
can see that coming.
when they were getting steamrolled by the Colts. Justin Jefferson wasn't involved, and that's almost why. You even texted me throughout that game at one point before the Vikings started coming back, and you were like, "Damn, dude, Justin Jefferson's gonna kill us," because we had a bunch of other stuff going well, and then
Right.
Jefferson was just real short, and then. I kid you not, within like 5 minutes of you texting me that, he went from like 17 yards to 115 and cashed everything,
Right.
got the touchdown and everything. And I was like, oh,
Yeah.
all right. But
Guess
that's
we're
when they
good.
started coming back, when they started getting him involved. Now, obviously, they were trying the whole time. It wasn't working at first, things like that. But they once it started clicking, that's when the game turned around. So, yeah, you got to go JJ for his personal accolades. I know he wants it, but it's just the smarter team strategy as well. So. I
Yeah, and
agree.
you look at him the last few weeks, 11 targets, 15 targets, 16 targets. Like it's just it's insane. 9, 7, 11, and 12 receptions in that stretch. And the yards weren't there in that Jets game. He had 11 targets for 7 catches, only 45 yards, did get a touchdown. So that's the other thing too. I'm looking at him for a touch, but I like
and
this
but
this play.
you mentioned the Jets, and like I just want to make the
Mhm.
point, like that's an anomaly though when you're talking about this matchup here where they're playing the where they're playing the Giants. Like that Jets defense is elite. So
Well,
compared to
especially
this
Sauce
Giants
Gardner,
defense, especially.
like you got a
Yeah.
guy who like his job was to lock him down. So
Yeah, and you got DJ Reed on the other side. So even if you try
Right.
to scheme away, like he's solid as well. So
Mhm.
yeah, man, yeah, that being the anomaly makes sense to me. And that
All
doesn't
right.
hold me back at all.
So this one should be an absolute barn burner shootout. Like I'm looking for at least 30 points in this game.
I need 33, baby. 33.
AG took the over.
Hey, listen, I ripped the over 32.5, man. All season long, all the guys on TV have been telling me, oh, terrible weather game. This game's going to suck. That's why the over-under's at 30 points right now. And then the teams go out and it doesn't even snow till the halfway through the fourth quarter. This isn't supposed to be a snow game. It's supposed to be super, super windy and super cold.
Yeah.
Whatever. Let's get some points on the board, baby. I don't think either of these teams necessarily need to pass the ball. So, it's all good for me. You got Nick Chubb, obviously. Browns want to run the ball anyway. It's going to, take away from Deshaun Watson's development, not being able to throw much today. I know the Browns wanted to go the route of keep working him into the system, getting him better, getting the rust out of him. And then you got on the other side the Saints. Now, look, they haven't been able to run the ball all season, really, but the Browns, they get torched in the run. Austin Eckler has still like 75% of his yards against the Browns this season. That was the only game he actually even, had any success, and they actually tried to go to him for a good reason. So is this the game Alvin Kamara finally, shows up again? Now, he's had a couple of games where he's had some yards and stuff, hasn't been getting in the end zone, but the Saints haven't been moving the ball, so it's kind of tough. There's a couple games where they just weren't able to really get anything going. But also, I want to take a little key look at Taysom Hill here. The books agree with me though, so he's priced accordingly. But think about it, man. We're looking at 29-mile-per-hour winds around noon. So around game time, it'll be somewhere around there. 33% precipitation, super cold, 10 degrees without the wind chill. But if Andy Dalton can't get the ball through that air whatsoever, don't be surprised if Taysom Hill runs a lot of quarterback action today, a lot more than usual, and they just zone read the crap out of this Browns defense all day long. So I think Taysom Hill might be a good play. He said accordingly. Throughout all the books, you're looking at 45.5 to 50.5 range. I think FanDuel was on the high side of that. It might be smart to take him at 40 plus in a parlay or something. His 25 plus was super juiced at like minus 1100, I believe. But yeah, Dalton
it's
can't
only
go into
minus
this win,
700 on FanDuel. Yeah, the 25 plus
25,
is 700
yeah.
on FanDuel.
So I mean, you're
that's
eating
not
a lot
terrible.
of juice. It's kind of risky because what if he doesn't really get that many looks?
Right.
But this feels like the right game for him to be at quarterback most of the game. If Andy Dalton, it's a big if though, so you might want to wait and play it live even too. See if any books are offering his rushing prop live. But it's a thought. And then in that, you also got to consider the fact that if Andy Dalton isn't throwing the ball or isn't even in the game at quarterback, you're looking at plus 128 for Dalton to not throw a touchdown on FanDuel, which is the highest you're getting. I'm not taking either of these, personally. but I definitely am intrigued by them and kind of leaning it.
Yeah, so yeah, I'm not even seeing. It looks like they pulled the Andy Dalton passing TDs from the site.
Did they
All we
pull
got is
all of his
Deshaun
stuff?
Watson now.
Did they
It
pull
looks like
yards
it.
too and all that?
Well, let me look. Yeah, passing yards is gone too.
Oh, so yeah,
Yeah,
so they agree. They
it's
agree
all
that he
Deshaun
might not
Watson,
even
and
play
they're right.
or play much. Yeah, no. See, so
Hmm.
sports books they're smart, man. They had this priced accordingly. This is one of those where you maybe had to get on a Taysom Hill prop somehow as early as possible in the week, and it might have been lower, but 55 to 50.5, it's just too much of a risk for me to take on a guy who might not even get that many looks. I never really play Taysom Hill props too much just because of that factor. Nick
You
Chubb
know,
is
you
the
know,
other
I'm
guy we
always
gotta
going
look
to
at.
go. Yeah, I'm always going to go here when we start talking about Mr. Chubb.
What do you got up anytime
This
touchdown?
no 2 touchdowns,
Oh yeah.
and then his alt rushing yards, and I'm looking at 80. So 80 and 2 touches is 675.
So I do have him for 2 touches in something. When we always take our little
Hmm.
risky
Hmm.
multiple players with 2 touchdowns play for some fun and hopefully to catch out one of these. We've been close a few times. So I do have that, but I did want to mention like he's on the verge of a 4-game no touchdown streak.
That's great.
And that's about
Great
unheard of
setup.
for a Nick Chubb anytime touchdown, which is like a lock usually every season.
Hmm.
But he's on the verge of 4 straight games without a touchdown. So I think he definitely should get it done here. And again, I am on the over 32.5. What do they have the over at now? Has it moved at all?
It's still 32 and a half, but I wanted to say this about Chubb. So
Okay. Yeah.
we've been watching this all year, and the number
Mm-hmm.
has fluctuated between like minus 115, minus 150, depending on the game, depending on the matchup, and everything, and all the other trends going into it. He's at plus 100 for an anytime. That to me, that's just telling you, okay, there's the trust is just not there. Like they are giving you even money on him to score an anytime
Yeah.
touchdown. No
And you're
juice
also
whatsoever.
looking at you're also looking at the 32.5 total too. So they're
Yeah,
expecting
absolutely.
3 touchdowns max in this. So
Mhm.
that's part of it playing into it too. But yeah, no, give me that. I'll take that because we've been
Yeah.
dealing with minus 150s and things like that all season long, like you said. So yeah, I'll take that.
Yeah. And I know that there's probably this, this assumption, okay, well, yeah, but if they know that you can't throw, or they're just going to load up the line of scrimmage. Yeah, but you're also going to be running like a bunch of 3 tight end sets and just a bunch of power, and all it takes is you get one crease, and he's busting one.
Yeah,
You
and
know,
the thing with
because if they do load it up, you get to the second level and it's you on a safety, and that's it. That's the only thing between you and the goal line. So
and the
it's not
thing with
always
Nick
that
Chubb,
easy.
yeah, and to add to that with Nick Chubb, I mean, you saw he put up 99 against the Ravens rush defense last week. Nick Chubb is one of those that defies matchups sometimes. Like it doesn't really
Mhm.
matter. He's gonna get his, especially if they give him the rock a few times. And then on the other side of the ball, you could say the same thing, but the Browns, I mean, they're just not great against the run. Now, if they're all selling
Mhm.
out on it, are they a little bit better? Probably. But they could that's when Taysom Hill comes in and runs that zone read and
Mhm.
switches it up and gets the
Yeah.
offense going. So I'm just hoping for some points here. Hopefully Nick Chubb accumulates 2 of those touchdowns for us. So
So let's just all right. Since we're on this, all right. So Taysom Hill anytime is plus 230. I'm just going to throw this out there as like as a little hypothetical play that you could possibly throw like a tenth of a unit on or a quarter of a unit. Taysom Hill 2 touchdowns is plus 1,300. I could totally see it happening. Okay, that's number one. Then you go to his rushing yards, and let's say you wanted to juice it to that 50 yards that we were talking about. You bring it down to 40, and now you're in like the minus 192. It's not that great, but it's not that bad. Like that's doable. That gives you plus 1917. But if you wanted to juice it up, like say you wanted to flip it to the other side and say, all right, I'm gonna throw a little small play on something big. Taysom Hill, 80 yards and 2 touches is plus 3612. I'm just saying, like if there's a setup for, and he's done it before, but if there's a setup for him to have this kind of game, this is the game. And I really think that he's the play when you look at him versus Alvin Kamara, if you're going to make this play, because if you do that same, try to make that same play with Alvin Kamara instead. Let's go Kamara for 80
Yeah,
yards.
you're
Now
not
you're
going
only at
to
plus
get as much
146.
juice.
Yeah, and then you go to the 2 touchdowns. Shit, man, I flew through it. 2 touchdowns is plus 900. That's not terrible, but you remove Taysom Hill from this, so we're at half the odd, less than half the odds for Alvin Kamara to do the same thing. So to me, if you're looking at this and they're trying to run the zone read, if I'm Cleveland, I'm not letting Alvin Kamara just go nutso on me, and I'm probably crashing a little bit. And there's going to be some of those opportunities where Taysom Hill, all it takes is he busts off a couple, and there you are. And if they get into the red zone, Alvin Kamara could have 140 yards rushing today, or 140 combined yards with some dump offs and stuff like that. He gets down inside the 5, Taysom Hill punches it in. You know what I mean? Like it's happened too many times before. So anyway, that's one of the things I'm looking at with that
Yeah,
one.
no, definitely.
You got anything else for this game before we move on?
Nah, man, I'm good on this one.
All
well,
right.
we are going to circle back with Nick Chubb. He's in some
Yeah.
parlays and stuff like that, but yep, nothing straight on him because his numbers are just priced expensively.
Lions and Panthers has now become like a somewhat interesting game. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers continue to do their best to hand the division to whatever terrible team
Anybody
wants
else
to come up and grab it.
Right.
Anybody but themselves. And we're very likely headed towards our first ever 10-loss team in the playoffs in the history of the NFL. And I don't know who it's going to be, honestly, because at this point right now, you've got the Saints, Panthers, and Falcons all tied at a game back of the Buccaneers at 5-9, with the Bucs sitting there at 6-8. This is insane. But
and the
Carolina,
Bucs have to watch everybody else play today.
Right.
And if they all somehow pull off wins or anything like that, I mean, the pressure is on at that point on Sunday. And and that's Sunday primetime tomorrow, Christmas night primetime. And if all these teams are able to win, I don't think that's happening. But I'm just saying, if that happens, there's a lot of pressure going into that game for the Bucs.
Well, it's a home game for the Panthers, and the Lions are playing like great football coming into this game, and they're in the hunt now for the playoffs. Whereas we were, I'll count us among them. Shame on us, but we were counting them out. This was a terrible team to start the season, but they've come on strong here lately. What do you see here? I like the Lions to win this game. I even like them to cover, but I think I could be wrong. I'm not putting any money on that. That's just kind of where I'm leaning. But do you see any props that are worth going after in this one?
Well, I love the Lions too. I love the Lions at -2.5. I think they cover for sure. That's going to be a part of our teaser most likely. Well, we built our own teaser, so it's not a teaser. I kept that line where it is at -2.5. Right. I like that. You're giving me under a field goal. I know they're on the road, but think about it. The reason the Lions have actually become a playoff contender here, and they have a chance of making the playoffs, is because that defense tightened up, specifically that run defense. That's where the Panthers want to go. So if they're able to tighten up those gaps and tighten up those holes and not allow much on the run, keep that consistent all day, the Panthers won't be able to put up enough points. The last thing you want to do is have Sam Darnold out there throwing 35, 40 times a game. Sam Darnold is at a point in his career where he can manage the game. But like if you're putting him in a position where, they're coming from behind and things like that, and he needs to force the ball downfield all day, it's a bad recipe for the Panthers. And the Lions, their offense is electric. So their offense is capable. Defense is playing much better. If they're able to stop the run, put the ball in Sam Darnold's hands, Panthers don't stand a chance here. I love the Lions at -2.5. I think they get that done.
All right. So do we have any parlays? Any prop plays that we like in this game?
Yeah, I mean, there's a few places to go on the Lions offense, as always, every week, right? I mean, I'm not going to call you crazy if you take a, DeAndre Swift receptions or receiving yards, or Amon-Ra St. Brown for any of that. Jamal Williams, anytime touchdown, is a leg in every touchdown parlay every week, right? There's a few places to go
today, so that's not bad.
So like, there's a few places to go always with the Lions, but then you just don't know where the coaches are going to go or who's going to be the guy, because there's so many weapons. So I don't want to go too heavy into it. But I do like Jamal Williams for at least 40 yards, or I think his number is like 42.5. I think he can hit this on this Panthers run defense here. And him for a touchdown. We mentioned him for a touchdown. It is worth mentioning that the Panthers, they are 26th in rushing touchdown percentage allowed. So like they allow a majority of their touchdowns to be on the run. And when the Lions get down close, if it's a first and goal from the 10, they're running
It's
it up the
Jamal
middle
Williams.
until they get close enough for the touchdown for the 1 yard run from Jamal Williams
Mm-hmm.
for a touchdown. He's got to have the most 1 yard touchdown runs ever in a season, right?
Right.
But yeah. So I mean, I like him at that number. I think I'm going to parlay it though. I don't like the risk of it just playing it straight. You know, I'd rather just put it in something else, juice it up, and take a chance on him. But that's where I'm going to go in that. You can't go wrong going Amon-Ra St. Brown in a juice down in a parlay or whatever you want to do here. Really, it's the Lions' offense is electric to the point where you can. The only way you go wrong is just by picking the wrong guy. But beforehand, before the hindsight 2020, I can't tell you you're wrong for picking any guy in this offense.
Right. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I don't know where to go with that. I'm gonna stick with just Jamal Williams. I think that's the easiest line to hit, like the more consistent line to hit there. And I'm just gonna stick with that.
St. Brown is so juiced too. Like you got to get
exactly
you gotta get 80 yards before you're not at minus 130 or worse. So it's juiced up big time.
Yeah. So I like that play. I think that's gonna be a part of a parlay we got coming up.
All right. Now this one, Bengals and Patriots. I know that this is a little preview of what's part of that little self-built teaser that you got there, but you and I were talking about this before we came on. I really like the Bengals to kind of open things up on the Patriots. This is where last 2 years you look at Joe Burrow and how the Bengals have played. They're playing their best football right now. They're putting good teams to bed, and I can see this being the same sort of thing here. A field goal spread, but now we've got a chance for this Patriots team coming off of that humiliating loss last week to try to get a little bit of redemption. I just don't see it happening with this Bengals team. But you seem to think maybe a little bit differently.
I'm not sure, man. I'm conflicted. So I think that they can cover. So what Chad's referring to is I do have them in the teaser. I didn't lock it in yet. I wanted to talk this all out on the show first before we lock anything in, guys. So hop in the chat. Let me know what you guys are thinking about this one and any other game too. Jev's in here giving the picks. Jev's got the Bengals, but I'm not saying that the Patriots are going to win this game, but I did tease them up to over a touchdown. So I took them as plus 7.5. Well, I didn't take them yet, but that's the thought. It's going to be a windy game, cold, windy game where, it just favors the Pats if they have to go more run game. If Joe Burrow isn't punching it through that air, when you're looking at Josh Allen and things like that, you're not worried about that. But Joe Burrow, I mean, it's a little less of a strong arm, but dogs are barking. So
I don't like that. I don't like
that
at all.
I think we have to keep it in the parlay at this point, right?
I guess so, man. Like I didn't even normally. I'm like hoping for it when we start talking about a game. I was definitely not hoping for it this time, and here we are. Damn, man. All right, yeah. I guess you got to leave it in there.
Hey, it worked out. That
was going to be the one that would mess it up.
Thursday night, the Jags were the dogs, right?
That's right.
So it's we're 1-0 on the week when the dogs start barking during the show. But Chad, I really wanted to. I don't have any idea about any player props in this game. I really wanted to go to you and let you go back to your LSU well if you would like to, or anywhere else that you'd like to in this game. But yeah, I don't know. I'm staying away from this unless I play the Patriots at that plus 7.5.
Look, I'm going to be perfectly honest. Like if I'm going to the LSU well, I like Justin Jefferson this week way better than Jamar Chase. I may be dead wrong on that, but I feel like this is not a great spot. This is not a great spot for Chase. So I'm not trying to go for any craziness or anything like that. Let me just see. All right, so if I pull up his anytime plus 135. That's not terrible. Let's look at his receiving props. The dogs barking really kind of threw me off too. So they got him at 71.5 as his set number. So yeah, you're probably looking, if you wanted to go like 80, that's where you're going to get into the plus money. You'll get decent odds on that, but it's not anything where it's like, oh man, I got to take this because the money's just too good. Right. I'm not really feeling that. I actually think that the Bengals can get things done through the running game. Just pounding Mixon and Pirine and then hitting some of those other receivers. It's going to be, to me, it seems like it's a great game to look for other folks besides Jamar Chase. And I know he he had the one touchdown last week and didn't have a great yardage game last week. And you actually saw some production from the other guys that we thought were going to underperform because they were banged up. I think the same thing probably happens this week, and I'm looking for Jamar Chase for another week down the road where we're going to have a better option for him.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I got nothing in terms of props in this game at all.
Yeah.
Are you going to one of the other guys then, or are you just off?
No, I'm not. Well? No, I'm just off of it. I'm just off of it. I want to move on to this Bills-Bears game because this Bills-Bears game I think is really intriguing because I love the way the Bears have been playing lately. Love the way Justin Fields has been playing lately. I think what you're seeing is the foundation being built of a team that can compete, and they need a couple more pieces to make it to where these really close losses turn into wins. I know that's a fool's errand sometimes because a lot of times they're maybe winning some games that they shouldn't win. But really, like you look at it, the Bears, it's not like they've been really getting it done. They don't have. I don't think they have a whole lot of. When you're 3-11, how many wins do you have that you can be like, man, look, we were right there. We were almost in the playoffs. But I think that they're starting to build that foundation. They're very competitive. And this number just seems too high for me. I look at how the Bills have been playing down to their competition and how the Bears tend to play up to it. We talked about this on the early lines show. That's why it's one of my picks. I really like this. Now, I like this as part of maybe one of those teaser type plays where you can maybe give yourself a few more points to add.
I put them at 14.5 to be real safe. So
yep, that's perfect. That's perfect. But in this game, like I'm actually liking. I think it'd be a really fun parlay to throw this together. This is the thing that just kind of jumped out to me is I'm going to go this way. Justin Fields alt rushing yards, and man, it's so high. Holy cow. But I want to go like Justin Fields 60. All right. And where's my man? Josh Allen for 40. All right. So we're at just about even money right there. And then I'm getting them both for an anytime touchdown on this as well. So where's it?
Yeah, I'll add to your point here for you real quick. We are looking at 22 mile per hour winds in the Windy City here in Chi-Town. So
there you go.
Yeah, it's that's one where, like I mentioned a couple minutes ago with Josh Allen, like you're not worried about that with Josh Allen at all. With Justin Fields, he might not want to throw into that.
Right.
Ball moving around in the air, that's prone for interceptions, things like that. So I could definitely see this. Go ahead, continue what you were saying. I want to add that
Fields,
this is a good point.
Fields for 60 plus, Allen for 40 plus, and each of them to score a touchdown is plus 1357. That's the play I like for this game.
Fields 60, Allen 40.
Uh-huh. And I'm just going to throw a quarter unit on that.
It's plus 1357 word.
Mm-hmm. So
yeah, I don't hate that at all.
A quarter unit wins you almost 3.5 units if it hits. So
no, I could definitely see it hitting. So I did have Justin Fields keyed in also for over 17.5 for his longest run. It's minus 114. Now I don't know if I'm 100% sold on this one, but Chad, you let me know after this if I should lock it in. So he's hit this in 6 out of the last 8 games. They're really opening the field for him as a runner. You've been seeing it. We've all been seeing it, right? If you're paying attention, you know that's happening. Lamar ran an 18-yard long against the Bills. That's the only other real running quarterback that they've played this season. His long was 18, but he did go for 11 carries for 73 yards. The Bills, they're the 6th best run defense in terms of rushing yards allowed this season, but they are 19th in yards per rush allowed. So they allow some big gashes, but they're just nice. They keep it they keep it in front of them most of the time. But when you do get that little gash, teams are taking a long run on them. So what do you think? I don't know. It's one of those where like he might just not have the opportunity to get a lot of space against this Bills defense, but he also might run one for 50 yards. Should we take a stab at it?
Yeah, I mean, at minus 114, I think this is one that I would put in a parlay. I'm not taking it as a straight because I think he could put up 60 yards rushing total, and his long could be 15 yards, and you're still missing. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Like it's I just don't
Yeah, I'll
know. Like
probably
that's
stay
one
away.
of those.
I was just throwing it out. I mean, I do like it. I would say it's a lean, I guess.
Yeah, if I could tease
Maybe we'll
this,
add it to something.
if I
Yeah,
could
right.
tease this to 35 yards at like plus 250 or plus 350, I might be like willing to take that.
Yeah, right.
Because I think as soon as he hits 17 and a half, it's probably a 35 yarder. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
but that's not the option we have here.
Right,
So
right. No, I do agree. And then the other plays I'm looking at is just the Bears running backs. We don't have Khalil Herbert lines, but we do have David Montgomery that we can
yeah,
tone down and things like that. I just think the Bears are going to be running a lot. And,
yeah,
like you said, they keep games close against good teams. Like I said a couple weeks ago, the Bears are in the best case scenario form right now the past few weeks because they found out that they got a stud. They picked right. They found out that they didn't swing and miss, and Justin Fields is here to stay. And they also lost all the games in the process of finding that out.
right.
It's
So now they can go get
perfect.
like a Will Anderson or something
They
like
can
that
go
in the
get a
draft.
top receiver for him if they want. They
That's
can,
true
yeah.
too.
So they got options now, and so it's best case scenario for the
Yeah.
Bears all season long. And I think the same thing probably happens today. They probably lose this game by like 7-8 points, right
Yeah,
there around the cover, and you don't want to win this one if you're the Bears right now. You want to keep fighting for that draft pick spot.
right. Well, the Bears right now are sitting in the number 2 spot behind the Texans, and the Texans are going to get a quarterback. so like
Yeah.
it's gonna be Bryce Young, and then whoever's after that. Now I'm assuming it's gonna probably be Will Anderson, but I don't know. Like whatever ends up, you know how that stuff goes. Whoever
Right.
we think is going to be the top 5 draft picks right now, by the time April rolls around, it's a whole different group of 5. There might be 1 or 2 guys that are the same, but anyway, yeah, they're
So
positioning themselves perfectly.
for the Bills side of the ball, I think going with Josh Allen rushing yards is a good call.
Mm-hmm.
You could go Singletary too. I just don't want to take anything in the passing game in this game, and then end up being on the wrong side of that.
Yep.
I'm not scared about Josh Allen throwing into that wind, but there's a chance that it affects it, and or they just don't pass that much. So I'm just gonna stay away from that. Just on the chance, it's just not worth taking the risk on it, in my opinion.
Well,
there's much better things on the board.
Yeah, so let's talk for a minute about just briefly about Stephon Diggs, because like he's been one of the best receivers in the NFL, but like his last few weeks, so he had the big game against the Patriots, 9 for 92 and a touch, but then 5 for 37, and then 3 for 37, and then 5 for 60 last week. Very, very mid to disappointing numbers for Stephon Diggs. Do you think that this is just another let's stay away, let's not try to go against that trend and hope for a reversal because it's not worth it?
Well, it's not a bad idea. I think a reversal probably is coming. If there's anybody that the Bills are going to target heavily in this game, if they are trying to pass the ball a lot, it's going to be Stephon Diggs, because you just got your sure hands guy that gets open, runs really good routes. So he'll be, in the windy game, even though Josh Allen can rip it right through that, there's always that chance that like the ball is wobbly or just moving a little off target. Stephon Diggs, when he runs his routes clean, he gets wide open a lot of the times, and that's why he's been so dominant this season, because he runs really good routes. So that would be the guy you would want to go to downfield if you are throwing through this wind, just because he'll be so open that even if the ball gets carried a little bit, it's not carried into a defender's hands and things like that.
Yeah.
So I don't think it would be a bad idea to target him. But I'm just staying away. I think there's better things on the board. But
Vegas,
that trend could reverse. I agree.
Yeah, the books have him set up basically to reproduce what he did last week, which is 5 catches, 60 yards, no touchdowns. And
that's what they have him around.
Yeah, it's 5.5 as his over under, and then 60.5 or something like that for his receiving yards. So yeah,
like 5.5 might be a good play, but I'm off receptions props unless I'm just throwing something into a parlay here, because I do have 2 for this one, but they're really good spots.
Yeah, so now we move on to the game of the day. I put him in the thumbnail for a reason. Unfortunately,
game of the day. You had me going for a second. I was like,
we're
not at the
books are wise. The books are wise to the Derrick Henry trend against the Texans. So the numbers are just insane. It's just crazy. Derrick Henry to score a touchdown is minus 150 for this game, and his yardage number is let's go look at it. Hang on a second. Where are we at? Shoot. Pull this thing up. I always forget to click on the same game parlay. All right, so his touchdown prop is 150, and his rushing yards, the line is set at -1. I mean, at 117.5 for -110. It's they're hip to us, man.
now. It was
117
111 and a half last
I
night.
know.
Jesus.
It's crazy. Like it's just stay away. I want it so bad, but I can't. I'm not going under, but I don't like I wanted to go
not,
like
I am definitely not going under.
because even if you do this, even if you do something that we did earlier this year, which paid us off handsomely, you're not getting anywhere close to the value that you need to get to make this worth the bet.
You know who they played
Henry
in that game, right?
The Texans. Henry for 150 and 2 touchdowns is only plus 725. It was like plus 1200 that day that we did it, or plus 1400. Something I don't even remember what it was, but it was a crazy number. So
we killed it with that one. That was a great call. This one is expected, and that's why we're not getting the same value. But if we parlay that with some other good picks, it'll work out. But real quick, so there's been 2 Malik Willis starts this season for the Tennessee Titans.
Derrick Henry
in the first one, Derrick Henry had 32 carries for 219 yards and 2 touchdowns versus the same Texans defense that he's playing today. In the other one, he had 17 for 115 and 2 touchdowns versus the Chiefs. Look, they don't want to throw the ball downfield to Malik Willis. That's obvious. They're going to run the ball no matter if the box is stacked or not. Texans are a historically bad defense right now in terms of stopping the run. They are last in the league. So you gotta go Derrick Henry. He's so juiced though, like Chad was saying. We're gonna throw him in our 2 touchdown lay. And it might be worth taking him for like some yards, maybe 100 yards with a couple other guys for 100. We'll figure out. We'll identify those after we get through all of these games, like we always do. But real quick, I see we got a few people in the chat here. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. Jump in the live chat real quick. We want to hear your opinions because any best bets that you guys got, anything that's a lock for you guys, anything you disagree with that we're saying, or anything that we're missing. We're talking about all these games. We're not diving, super deep into every single player. What are we missing, guys? Let us know what plays are on the board that we should be taking a look at. We're going to build parlays in a few minutes here after we get through these last couple games. We always just like to give a good game analysis for all the games and, make sure we're talking about the right things. And then we start building. We got ideas for what we want to put in the parlays, but we always just try to confirm it as we talk it out throughout the games. So right now we're on the Texans Titans, and I'll be honest, I think I got the Texans money line in this one. I'm going to put a unit on Texas money line, plus 144. Is that what we're getting still? Let me check. Let me try to see this. Plus 148 now we're getting on the Texans money line. I'm going to double check and make sure we're not getting a better number anywhere else. But if you think about the past couple of weeks, they've been covering some big spreads. They've been right in the games. They almost beat the Chiefs. They almost beat the Cowboys. They almost beat the Eagles. I don't know if I could say almost beat the Eagles, but they were in the game that, they played a good game against the Eagles. They're in a situation right now this week where they don't even have to throw the game because they can win this game and keep a number 1 draft pick. So you look at what's on the board for the Texans, who have been clearly throwing the games at the end there because they want that number 1 pick, like me and Chad were just talking about with the Bears. But they're in a position this week where they can win, almost knock out a divisional foe, the Titans, out of the playoffs. They wouldn't be out yet, but man, the Titans are spiraling, and a Texans win here would really send them spiraling. So they can win, potentially almost knock the Titans out a little bit, and still keep the number 1 draft pick as it stands after today and after this week. I think this is the game where the Texans don't throw it at the end. And like I said, we got Ryan Tannehill out. We got Malik Willis starting. It's not a great recipe for the Titans right now. They know that Malik Willis isn't ready yet. They're not going to try to, force him to do anything that he's not ready for.
Mm-hmm.
I got the Chad. I was just saying while you were going, I'm on the Texans money line here.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to put a unit on them because they're in a position this week where they can finally not throw the game and still keep the number 1 pick.
Listen, I'll say this too. Mike Vrabel has shown an uncanny ability to act in his own in opposition to his own best interest. So what is this? Oh, he says Henry's the soul of the team because he wears 22. But yeah, so I've seen it too many times where we saw it last week even. The Titans, they punch it in, and next thing you know, it's a couple of 3 and outs where they're throwing the ball on first down. And I'm not saying you can't throw the ball on first down, you shouldn't throw the ball on first down. But when Derrick Henry's gashing people, you've got to start just feeding him the rock and preserve. They did it a couple of weeks ago too, where they got a lead, went away from the run. Derrick Henry had like 120 yards by halftime. He ended up with 122. Like I don't understand it. It doesn't make any sense. And so I just don't trust Vrabel at this point. And so I can't say anything about that in opposition. I like that pick. So now I'm not going to say game of the week anymore because I know I threw you for a loop there when I brought up the Texans game. Yeah. But this is a pretty good one. Seattle and Kansas City. I went with the over in this game for our early picks show.
This is the game I really thought you were talking about when you said it.
Yeah.
I thought you were making the same joke about Cowboys Eagles, but like I thought this is where you were going to go with it.
Yeah. So it's funny that we'll get into the Cowboys Eagles thing in just a minute, but this is one where I'm looking at this spread and I'm just like, and it's gotten bigger as the week has gone on. I find it very hard to take as Kansas City is very similar to Buffalo in that they both have found this way to play down to their competition. You saw it last week with the Chiefs, where the Chiefs damn near blew it and had to go to overtime to beat the Texans. So, like,
the Texans threw it for that number 1 pick too.
Yes,
like the Texans could have beat them.
Exactly. So I look at this and I'm really tempted to take the Seahawks plus this number. The problem is the Seahawks have been playing like dog shit lately, and I don't understand. Like,
this might be the lowest buy of the year for the Seahawks right now.
Yeah, and
this might be the lowest buy we're going to get on the Seahawks all year. So,
yeah. The crazy part is like you have some of these teams that they're riding high. They're looking like they're in position to claim a nice playoff spot, not just sneak into the playoffs, but claim one of those, either a first round bye or at least home field for their first game. And the Seahawks, among other teams, the Titans are one of them, we just talked about them, who seem hell-bent on missing the playoffs completely. And so I don't know how to read this one, but I'm really, really tempted to take the Seahawks plus this 10.5. It's so tempting, but I'm still liking that over. It's actually gone up since I picked it at 48.5 earlier in the week.
Good call, getting it early.
Yeah, I'm liking that I got it early. But what do you see here, and what are we seeing? I see Jay already said he's got Geno Smith. I'm not sure what he's talking about, if he means for him to get a rushing touchdown or for him to just have a day or what that means. But
I don't know. I think that was him saying he's got the Seahawks.
He's got the Seahawks in this game. Straight up. That money line's at 385. I'll take it.
Patty Mahomes and the Chiefs, they played down the competition. We've seen it all year. Absolutely. We've seen it all his career, really, for the most part. He doesn't cover these big spreads. These over a touchdown spreads is not Patty Mahomes' recipe. When you give him a spread under a touchdown, he'll win by 21, 28 points. When you give him a more than a touchdown spread, he'll win by 2 or 3, 4 or 5. It'll be a close game, right? I love the Seahawks here. I teased them up in our little teaser that we're going to get to in a few minutes here. I teased them up all the way to 17.5 because I think even if the Chiefs get ahead and they're just killing that Seahawks defense, Seahawks are able to put up points. And that's exactly why my favorite play in this game is the Seahawks over 19.5 total points at minus 106. I'm going to play that straight as a 1-unit play here. 20 points versus the Chiefs this season, 11 out of 14 games. So 11 out of 14 opponents have put up 20 on them. A couple weeks ago, we saw Russell Wilson's Broncos put up 28 points against them. Now, yes, Brett Ripon threw one of the touchdowns, so Russell Wilson put up 21. That still catches this. And that's Russell Wilson's Broncos that we're talking about. I hope you guys know how significant that is. It's also cash for the Seahawks in 9 out of 14 games. One was right on the hook. They scored 19 in a game this season, so it could very well be 10 out of 14. with one different player, whatever the case was in that game. I forget.
Mm-hmm.
The Seahawks are 7th in points per game, averaging 25.5 points per game. Chiefs defense 20th in points per game allowed, averaging 23 on their heads. I like the Seahawks to put up points. Look, the Chiefs might win this game by 10, 11, 12, and the Seahawks still put up 21.
Mm-hmm. No, I like that a lot. So the game that
That's my favorite play
failed,
on the board in this one. Yeah.
yeah. So the game where they scored 19 even was a win against Arizona in like week 5, 6, 7, somewhere in that range, and they won 19-9. So they basically just they boat raced them and just really
Yo,
didn't have
real
to
quick,
score.
go to slide on that top bar to scoring. Or no, to
All right.
totals.
Yeah.
Now go back to it.
Go back to what?
Go to the Seahawks.
Okay,
Total
got
points.
you. Yeah. 20
Over 20
20.
minus 106. I'm going to take that instead of the minus 122.
All right. Okay.
So we'll switch it to
Yeah,
that.
good.
They
good
got
point,
they put a different number in for the SGP because they let you parlay it. They know what they're doing. But we don't get got like that because we do our research over here.
That's right.
It did go up since last night. I had it at 19.5, but I'll take over 20. When I took it at 19.5, I was taking it because I think they're going to get 24 or something like that. So
yeah,
I'll take that. And that's still at minus 106 now. Yeah. Okay. So
yeah, minus 106.
I'm cool with that. And if we get caught on the hook at the 20, it's a push. We get the money back, whatever. We'll bet it tomorrow or something on one of these shitty games tomorrow.
well, and to your point about that Broncos game, like the Chiefs got out to that huge early lead and then let the Broncos just walk them down, and they almost came back and won that game.
Exactly.
It's crazy, and that's a terrible Broncos offense too.
It's funny. My manager is my manager's a Chiefs fan. She doesn't like fully pay attention, but she is a Chiefs fan, and she tunes in every once in a while if she has time, whatever. So I told her when I walked in for work that night, it was right around the time the game was starting, and I told her, I was like, "Yo, you guys got a tough one. I'm not gonna lie." I was like, the Broncos defense is legit. Like they're number 1 in the league. Like because she was like, really, the Broncos, they suck. And I was like, nah, but listen, like you got to get points. If you get points, you're good. And then this conversation was happening like as the game was going already.
Right.
And then I was like, actually, let me just look real quick. So we went over to the TV that was playing that game, and it was already like 17-0 or whatever it was. And I looked back at her and I was like, oh, never mind. You guys are good now. Broncos ain't putting up 10.
Right.
You guys are already good. And I almost jinxed it there for her. So but they did pull it out. But yeah, no, I think that the Seahawks definitely can put up some points here in this game. This is my favorite play. But this might be my favorite straight of the day right here. Them getting some points here. I like this one.
I'm looking at one other thing. It's been a while since we actually went to this well and got anything off of it.
You're looking at Kenneth Walker?
Kenneth Walker, yeah. It's plus 240. Plus 240 for 60 and a touch.
I don't know, man. I think I'm off the Walker bus for right now. And it's not a knock on Walker either. And that's just me personally. Like I don't think that's a bad play. It's not
just
a bad
the Seahawks offense overall, how they're playing lately.
It's the line, really, and and I just think that there's a better way to attack this game, which I'll get into right now if you're done with the Kenneth Walker part. I didn't want to shit on it. I'm personally not playing Kenneth Walker right now because I don't know, I'm just off the bus for a little bit. It made us some money. He made us some money this year. I don't want to give the money back that he made us,
All right,
I'm just like, whatever.
Listen, that's why we do this, so we can talk some sense into each other, talk us off.
No, but it's not talking sense. Like that's not a bad play. Yes, it can definitely hit against the Chiefs defense. So I didn't want to say it's a bad play. I'm personally just staying away from it for right now, at least. I want like a little bit of a better matchup, or maybe I'll see it today and go back to it next week. And by that time I'll be too late. Whatever. But I'm looking at DK Metcalf in this game. Wide receivers, alpha wide receivers have torched this Chiefs defense. And I think we can consider DK Metcalf one of those. Now, Tyler Lockett is also out. So that, usually they're both split and they have very even games a lot of times where they both have 6 catches for 57 yards and a touchdown each, where they're just sharing all of the success very evenly. And that's why we don't hear much anymore in, the top wide receivers conversation with DK and Tyler Lockett. because they're just sharing reps. They're sharing touches. They're sharing yards and touchdowns. Today, he doesn't have to. Lockett's out. Let's talk about some receivers versus the Chiefs this season. Jerry Jeudy, 8 catches, 73 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Jamar Chase, 7 catches for 97 yards. Keenan Allen, 5 catches for 94 yards in the same game that Josh Palmer also had 8 catches for 106 yards and 2 touchdowns. Christian Kirk, 9 catches, 105 yards, 2 touchdowns. Brandon Ayuk, 7 catches, 82 yards. Stephon Diggs, 10 catches, 148 yards and a touchdown. Devontae Adams, 3 catches, 124 yards and 2 touchdowns. Mike Evans, 8 catches, 103 yards and 2 touchdowns. Michael Pittman, 8 catches for 72 yards. Mike Williams, 8 catches, 113 yards and a touchdown. I mean, come on. Kansas City allows 78.95% of touchdowns against them to come on passing plays. Most of those 2 wide receivers, as you just saw from that list I went through. The potential for the game script to be the Chiefs getting up big and the Seahawks having to pass the entire game is very much a possibility that nobody should rule out. So dude, DK Metcalf, this could be a nice little ladder play where you go with 80 plus and a touchdown at plus 270 with the half unit to win 1.35. And then you go 100 plus and 2 touchdowns at plus 1675 with a quarter unit to win 4.9 or something like that. Mm. Or we circle back to another great matchup with Justin Jefferson against this Giants defense. And we do both of those ladders, but with both of them. What do you think, Chad?
No, I mess with it. All right, so DK. All right, let me go back to let me go to Jefferson. Hang on a second. All right. All right, so we got Jefferson for an anytime. And then what, 80 plus? Were you saying?
Yeah, I don't know. What do you want to do? What should we do here? 80 plus so each 80 and a plus, touchdown, and then 100 plus each and a touchdown?
For each. Yeah, 80 plus each and a touch is 826. That's plus 826. So, yeah, I mean, I'm willing to throw like a quarter unit on that and then like a tenth of a unit on the other one because the other one's going to be super juicy.
It's what,
so let's go a hundo. Yeah, 8 plus 826 for 80 and 1. Hundo and 2. We're already at plus 777 just for Jefferson's part of it.
Should we go a hundo and 2 for each though? I don't know. Might be asking for a lot.
If we're doing the ladder, listen, man, go hard or go home.
All right.
I'm just like that's what we're doing a tenth of a unit on this. All right, so let's go. Let's see alt yards. There's a hundo. Here's our 2. Where you at? There we go. 15,951, my man. Is that worth it?
Yeah, why not?
A tenth of a unit to win 16 units.
Yeah, well, so look, I'll probably go. We could make this a 1 unit play where we do their, easier lines, the 80 and a touchdown, even individually with a quarter unit each or something, and then a quarter unit on both of these.
Yeah.
I'll lock in on Twitter. I'll ponder this some more and think about it, and we'll lock in a pick on the Twitter. Make sure you guys are following that. It's in the description box right now at MOO_sports on Twitter. You can just hit that link in the description and move right on to Twitter. Even if you don't use Twitter, you can still go ahead and view it just so you can see the picks. Yeah, I'm going to figure out what I want to do with this when we get off air. I don't want to waste too much time while you guys are all tuned in looking for more plays. But Justin Jefferson, DK Metcalf, big games. That's essentially what we're getting at here. Mm-hmm. And I'll definitely figure out how we're going to ladder that. But we wanted to show you at least part of that and show you kind of what we do. And this has been hitting for, this is something where that 80 plus and a touchdown will hit for us. And then that 100 plus and 2 touchdowns will come up 1 touchdown short from one of the guys or something. Yeah. But it's like, it's worth taking a shot at that. You like he said, you're talking about a tenth of a unit to win 16. You put a quarter unit on that, you're up 50 units almost. So
right, exactly. All right, so I got nothing on this Atlanta-Baltimore game. Do you have anything?
I got one straight bet that I love that I'm going to throw out here. We're going to go to scoring again. or totals,
Okay.
wherever we were on that last one. I think it was totals.
Yeah.
Falcons total points, and let's see what number we get. I do want to double check in
14
the
and a
other
half,
lane also.
minus 102.
All right, that's on that one. So go to the other one. Scroll down. What's that one?
14 at minus
Oh
102.
yeah. So
also.
in this case, well, I'm going with the under. So we're gonna go. Let's take those extra 2 points and take. Oh wow! Did you see that, Chad? They're
Yeah, it
watching
just
us,
moved.
dude.
It just moved.
As soon as I said the under, bro. Oh man, that's crazy. Which one of you 7 people is from FanDuel? Show yourself in the chat, motherfuckers.
No shit, right?
Show yourself in the chat.
Wild,
I was
bro.
just about to. I was in the middle of saying, "Oh, we're gonna take the minus 120 for the extra half point just to play safe," and they fucking. Oh wow! Right as I was saying it. They didn't even let me get my thought out. Which one of you fuckers is working for FanDuel? Let me know so I can block you in the chat. But all right,
Jay
so I guess
sneaking.
yeah, I guess. Well, at that point, what would you recommend here, Chad? Do we take the extra
under
point?
14 and a half? Under 14 and a half is minus 130, and under 14 is minus 118. I mean, I think if you're going to do this, it's only 12 hundredths of a unit difference.
Yeah, just take it, right?
I'm taking that point. That point is worth way more.
Oh man, I wish it stayed at 120 right there. Because
that's crazy.
Here's the thing. Now that might move.
We gotta
also,
clip that. We gotta clip that and share because that's just wild that it would change while we're on the air. That's wild.
Bro. That might move a little bit too more. Yeah. Like you can tell it's kind of moving. So last night I had under 13 and a half at minus 116. So I was happy to see the 14 there because that just makes it a little safer. But let me get into why I don't think the Falcons are going to score many points. They have they've only gone under. It was at 13 and a half before. I think they had a couple games where they had 14, maybe. Mm-hmm. So they might have gone under this 3 times this season, 2 or 3. It was 1 when it was at 13 and a half. But the Ravens have held opponents under 13.5 in 4 out of the last 6 games. Now, I wish I had the numbers for the 14, but I don't have those numbers ran. So these numbers might have changed a little bit now that the number moved up a point, but everything will still hold. Oh, look, there it is. Steelers got 14, or else it would have been 5 out of the last 6 games. So, so Ravens have held opponents under this number in 5 out of the last 6 weeks. The only team that really put up points on this Ravens defense recently was the Jaguars, and they only had 10 points until the last 6 minutes of the game there. So that was just a supreme full job from the Ravens. The Falcons, they're now starting Desmond Ridder. He went 50% for 97 yards in a dome last week. We're looking at 16 to 20 mile per hour winds here in Baltimore today. If you're throwing 50% in the dome in the dome in New Orleans, look, he's not ready. I'm not going to shit on the guy. He's not ready. They didn't want to have him in right now. Mariota got hurt, is what it is. The Ravens are number 3 in yards per rush allowed. That's what the Falcons are going to want to do. The Ravens are also number 4 in points allowed, 18.8 per game on average. But the Ravens are number 1 in points per game allowed over the last 3 weeks with only 12. They have really tightened up. And the Falcons, they're 15th in points per game, 21.9, but only averaging 15.7 through the last 3 games. And like I said, now Desmond Ridder at quarterback. There's other things to worry about now for the Falcons. This Ravens defense is playing lights out. And, I feel like they're really just stepping up since the offense has been struggling without Lamar and whatnot. I don't, I like the Ravens to win this game by a touchdown. Hell no. But am I back in the Falcons on anything? Nope. Mm-hmm. So I like this. I think this is the best way to play this game. You don't have to worry about any of the other stuff. Just under 14 points from the Falcons here. So.
All right. Good stuff. All right. So
I'm not going
commies and the Niners.
Anything, so.
Commies and the Niners, you got Brock Purdy against Taylor Heineke, just like everyone predicted at the beginning of the season. So what are we looking at here? Anything at all?
I got to be honest here, Chad. I like this Brock Purdy versus Taylor Heineke matchup a lot better than I would have liked the Jimmy G versus Carson Wentz matchup. I'll be honest. I'll come clean on that. No lie, man. I'm not even kidding. So look, obviously, if you're going to look at this game, you're looking at San Francisco's defense is unreal. Washington's offense is but they have weapons and they can be electric when they're hitting. Washington defense is top 10, top 3 in total yards. But San Francisco, their offense top 15, if you're looking at numbers, top 7 total yards. So it's a good matchup. in my opinion.
Yeah.
I got the over 33.5. I teased it down in our teaser that we're going to talk about in just a couple minutes here. But I also like the over in general. That's what I locked in for the early lines show. But Brock Purdy over 1.5 passing touchdowns plus 142 on FanDuel. What do you think about that, Chad? He's had 2 in all 3 starts so far. The Commanders allow 66% of their touchdowns against them through the passing game, 26th most in the NFL. It's been 4 weeks since the Commanders have allowed 2+ passing touchdowns, so they're kind of due for a game where like they get back to how their defense was playing a little while ago. I know Chase Young is coming back, so that's going to put some pressure on Brock Purdy,
Yep.
but we don't know how much of a snap count he might be on, if he's like 100% good to go or not. I'm not sure. There's a reason we're getting high plus odds on this, but I think Purdy will have a lot of chances, especially if they force a lot of turnovers and get some short fields for him. I think he'll have a couple chances to throw this one to throw 2 in. So I don't know. What do you think?
Well, and I'm also I just look at the
It's
weapons
juiced up,
they've
so.
got. Yeah, it is, but I like the weapons that he's got with whether it's George Kittle or McCaffrey or those receivers. It's a nice little Leatherman multi-purpose tool that he's got in his belt that he can just pull out to dump off to these guys and let them do the work. And then he's shown he's capable of getting the ball into the end zone and making good throws. So yeah, I mean, I like this pick. 1.5 plus 1.5 is not bad. I do think that the Chase Young thing is interesting, but to me it would be more meaningful if this was Chase Young coming back against somebody where like a Jalen Hurts or somebody where like it finally gives a team that hasn't had to face pressure like that something to deal with. But San Francisco has been handling pressure all year ever since Trent Williams came back, and I don't see it being a big deal. Not saying he won't get home once or twice, but I don't think it's going to be this. He's going to be terrorizing Purdy in the backfield and ruining this play.
And I mean, look, they wanted to bring him back. What was it, like 2 weeks ago they were hinting at it, or 3 weeks ago they were hinting at it, and then they didn't, and then they didn't, and then they didn't, and they finally are. Now, are they confident in it yet? I mean, they've waited 3-4 weeks since they started teasing us with it. So like how much of a snap count is he going to have? Is he going to play the whole game? I don't know. I don't know how much of a factor it's going to be. I don't think it's enough to take me off of this prop here. The 49ers, they've showed that they can put up 30 points with Brock Purdy. They can get 2 rushing touchdowns and 2 passing touchdowns here. So I like it. Yeah. The other play I'm looking at in this game is Brian Robinson over 11.5 rushing attempts at -115. That's what it was last night, at least.
All right. 13.5 at -146.
Oh, hold on. Let me see if I can get that back. I actually locked this one in because I thought it might go up. It seemed a little low for me. So I got it in at the 11.5 -115, but I forget what book. So let me just double check all the live odds right now.
All right.
Oh yeah, we're still getting that at DraftKings. So you're still getting 11.5 at -115 on DraftKings according to covers right now. So that changes fast as we just witnessed. But
right.
I do like this though. He's cashed this in 8 out of his 10 games so far this season, and it would be really smart for Washington to run the ball and try their best to establish the run game, even if it's not working great. It would help Heineke tremendously downfield, as well as with the 49ers elite pass rush. They need to at least keep the defense honest and feed Robinson. And even if it's getting stuffed, man, like even if he has 15 carries for 35, 40 yards today, you got to keep kind of going to it and keep that defense honest. Keep the pass rush off Heineke a little bit, establish some play action. That'll help him out a lot. That's what this Washington offense needs. So look, like you always say, Chad, we can't assume rational coaching, but if we were assuming rational coaching, Brian Robinson gets 12 carries for sure here.
Yeah, for sure. All right. So I know that
shout out Natasha Kayleen.
What's up, Natasha? I know you and Big Mike covered this Raiders-Steelers game. Real quick before we move on to the other games, I just want to say it is the Franco Harris Memorial Immaculate Reception Redo Bowl. So I'm still on the Steelers, but I'm just going to leave that there. We talked about it in the early picks show. What do you got for this Eagles-Cowboys game? Because this one is kind of weird, where you've got like the first time these two teams met, it was Cooper Rush against Jalen Hurts. Now it's Dak Prescott against I don't even know who
Gardner Minshew.
Oh, that's right. It's Gardner Minshew. That's right. I forgot.
Eagles by 1 million.
You think so?
We got our guy back. No, I don't. I don't have a play on the sides here. I think it's priced pretty good. Like I don't trust the Cowboys to win this by more than the spread, and I don't trust the Eagles I don't know what to think the Eagles are going to show up with. This is our first time seeing Gardner Minshew in this offense. He played last year, but things have changed with AJ Brown and things like that. They are getting Dallas Goedert back. But yeah, this is an interesting one. I wish Jalen Hurts was playing because this was going to be like a premier, like just there was going to be so many props to take in this and whatnot.
If you don't think the NFL is scripted, I'm telling you, like this is to set up this as like the NFC Championship or some other. It's going to be a big game in the playoffs where they're going to finally play and they're going to both be with their starting quarterbacks
fully healthy
back against Jalen Hurts. They're holding us off on that.
Yeah, because they haven't.
The NFL is scripted. Look at that Raiders-Patriots game last week where the most crazy nonsense, an obvious incompletion is called a completion for a touchdown that ties the game. Then with a tie game, they throw a pick six on a lateral for no reason whatsoever.
If you don't believe it's scripted, just watch any close game of any professional sport that you've ever seen in the recent years. And I guarantee you, at least one of the color commentators, announcers, whatever you want to call them, said this exact quote: "They couldn't have scripted it any better." Yeah, they're telling you. They're telling you the truth. And you guys aren't listening.
Look, but that's their way of saying, shout out to the script writers.
That was amazing. You guys made me sound great today.
Exactly. Right. So that's what I'm staying away from the stuff here. The rushing props for the Cowboys are so juiced now that you're not getting good money for Tony Pollard.
Me and Mike were talking about that
stuff anymore.
There was a day about it.
There was a stretch, about week 7 to week 10 where you were getting good money on that stuff. And then it just like, it's slowly, well, actually very quickly, like turned a corner and gone the other direction. So
yeah, me and my boy Mike, shout out ZMT Sports, Mike from ZMT Sports. It's at ZMT_sports on Twitter if you want to follow them as well. He comes on and does Cowboys games. His co-host does Jets games with us all the time on this channel. So you've seen him before. But me and Mike were just talking about that. Like, not only is it like they're priced well at like in higher numbers, but they're even. Like they price both of them even. So you can no longer take advantage of like one guy being second fiddle, but getting more of the touches. So I did say on our show, for a more in-depth thing, we got to kind of run here, but for a more in-depth analysis on this game and the Steelers-Raiders game, check out our shows that we have on this channel. So, we did mention how if you're going to play Tony Pollard, it might be smart to take the extra 20 yards and go rushing and receiving instead of rushing, just because they might get him involved against, it's a tough Eagles defense that you're going up against. So you kind of got to pull all the tricks out if you want to move the ball consistently. And Tony Pollard getting involved in the receiving game, because like he could have 50 rushing yards and 37 receiving yards, and you get fucked on the rushing, but you would have hit rushing and receiving. He could also have 75 rushing, where now you only need 12 receiving. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
I think that's the smarter play if you want to go Tony Pollard. I really do think that Miles Sanders at 63.5 is a good play. One of the Cowboys' weaknesses on defense has been run game. Not like it's not like it's super weak, but teams have been able to run against them. I guess you almost could say it's been pretty weak, but they've been a great defense. But Miles Sanders, I think he can get ahead of them. 63 yards doesn't seem like a lot. It seems a little low for Miles Sanders, so I think I'm going to lock that one in. Especially with Gardner Minshew starting, they might try to favor the run game if they can, and just And I said this too. Like this is a game where like the Eagles and Cowboys both kind of know that they might have to play each other in the playoffs, right?
Right.
Like, they hope that they have to play each other in the playoffs because that means they're winning. But
I would be, if I'm one of them, I'd be happy that this is going down the way that it is, because nothing's really changing in terms of like how the standings are going to turn out, and they both get to keep their cards really close to the vest, because
that's what I'm saying.
Neither team is going to really know what to expect from the other.
Exactly, and you got Gardner Minshew in the game, so it's not like they're going to be giving away plays that they'd be running with Jalen Hurts anyway.
Exactly.
Like some of the playbook's going to be a little different. It's a different
and
style.
And the Cowboys, knowing they're playing against Gardner Minshew, can just kind of play a completely different game plan from what they would play if they're playing,
Right.
in the playoffs against Jalen Hurts.
And here's the thing, like this, it just the Eagles might not get too creative with that, and they
Right.
might just hand the ball off to
Exactly.
Miles Sanders. Cowboys might just hand the ball to Tony Pollard and Zeke Elliott, right? So I
Mhm.
think the running games are the way to go. You got to look at AJ Brown receptions too. Just that big, huge target for Gardner Minshew to look at, where you can kind of just trust Gardner Minshew to put it in the area and AJ Brown to go get it. So I definitely like him for receptions. What I'm going to do though for these 2 4:00 games, these are exciting ones. We got 2 solid offenses with a lot of weapons to choose from. I'm going to build some same game parlay, some fixture of maybe 1 or 2 half unit parlays between these 2 games where we're kind of interlapped in these games. I'm going to build that later though. I'll drop it on Twitter. I'll post it up on here on YouTube as well, but make sure you're following that Twitter. It's the link in the description box, first link down there when you go click on that real quick. So I'm going to go more in depth and, dive deeper into these 2 games for those, but you want to get into these parlays or you got anything else on this game?
Yeah. No, that's it. Now, yeah, we'll get into the Sunday games on a later stream or something, I guess. I don't know if we're
Yeah.
gonna
No, I'm
cover
dude,
the
I
games
don't
for tomorrow, or we're just gonna dunk them because
75% of
they're all
those
terrible.
offenses are banned. So I don't
Okay.
know. We might just take a day off tomorrow. I'll post like a couple flyer parlays on Twitter if we have a good day today, but I don't know about tomorrow, guys. Full
Yeah.
fair warning, all right? But
Those games are disgusting. The
hit that
Packers
subscribe button
Dolphins.
because we will for
Yeah.
sure be back Monday and the rest of the
Right.
season. But
Right.
tomorrow night, Packers, Dolphins, I don't know. Rams, Broncos, come on, give me something better than that. I'd rather watch I don't know, some what's that show? Grey's Anatomy with my girl or whatever than that shit.
Right.
Bucks and Cardinals, come on.
Yeah. So what we got? Let's go through. So I'm in the parlay builder. Let's do our touchdown parlays first, and then we'll go from there, and then I'll go back into the same game stuff.
All right. So one touchdown parlay that I like, where we're getting pretty good odds because Jamal Williams is juiced up. We got Jamal Williams, Derrick Henry, Tony Pollard, and Nick Chubb.
All right. This is going to be more. All right. Jamal Williams.
I've
Derrick
never
Henry,
looked at that tab on FanDuel.
Nick Chubb. I haven't either. Derrick Henry, Nick Chubb, and what's the other one?
Tony Pollard.
Oh, Pollard. Okay. That is plus 1480.
Damn, it was plus 15 something last night.
Mm-hmm.
So we have a $25 free bet from Thursday night on BetMGM. So I'm personally going to place this risk free with the free bet on BetMGM.
Gotcha.
So I'll put whatever odds that are those are on Twitter once I go build it after we get off here. Okay. But that's what I'm going to play. Jamal Williams, Derrick Henry, Tony Pollard, Nick Chubb for a touchdown. We're getting great odds for those 4 guys right there, and we're only asking for a touchdown each. So I love that. I'll take that any day of the week. You want to do the flyer real quick with the 2 touchdowns?
Henry's the only one that's juiced up, and it's actually like damn near guaranteed that he's going to punch one in today. Like it's
right.
It's 165. You know what I mean? So it's
until you said that. It was until you said that.
Yeah. Well, I said damn near. I didn't say it was.
That's all right. I got some.
I'm leaving. When I leave that little window. When I leave that little window, it's all right. Okay, so we got any 2 touchdown?
Yes.
Deals?
So I'm gonna go with 3 of the same guys here. So that way, if we get the first ones, we're just on the right track. You know what I mean? Okay. We're going to go Nick Chubb, Derrick Henry, and Tony Pollard.
Oh, all right. So
as long as you agree with that. Do you like that? I don't know.
No, I do. Yeah, I don't. I mean, the Pollard is the only one where I flyer a little bit. Yeah.
But we're going to round robin it too. So if one Pollard misses, we'll be all right. We'll still make money. If Henry and Chubb get it, we'll still make money. So yeah, once you have them all in.
13,706.
Damn, plus 16,670 last night. These have gone down. But all right, so what's a quarter unit getting us on this?
That is 34 units.
Okay, so we're gonna go a quarter unit on that to potentially win 34 units if they all get it. But like Chad said, Tony Pollard worries him a little bit. Any of these guys can miss. So we're gonna round robin with a quarter unit on each of those as well. So make it a full 1 unit play. Have some fun here today. Yeah. And we'll win another 20 units. Well, that's if all 3 hit. If all 3 hit, we are up 54 units total. But that number, that 20 units number is going to go down if one of them misses, but it'll still be profitable because we're looking at all plus odds plays here. So yeah, that's our hedge. But yeah,
right.
1 unit total on that.
Like it. I like it.
And
All
then
right,
are you in that's the only touchdown props I had. I might throw a touchdown lay in for the 4:00 games or something later on.
I was
But
just going to go back to the regular same game parlay builder and just go game by game
yeah.
and do it that way.
Well, so the next one is going to just be some yards and catches props. We got Jamal Williams for that over 42.5, like we talked about earlier.
All right. Hang on just a second. Let me get back into this thing because this is, holy cow. It's really slow if you mess up and click the wrong thing. All right. So where's Detroit? There we go. Jamal Williams for what?
His regular line, yeah. It was 42.5 last night, but I don't know where it stands now.
43.5 at -110.
Yeah, let's rip that. That's fine. And then we're gonna go to DK Metcalf over 6.5 catches.
Where is that game? I missed it. My bad. And this was what? Catches?
Yeah, so go to receiving.
Oh, okay. $6.5 at +126.
Yep. And then we're gonna go JJ for 6.5 as well.
All right.
We're building this live, guys, because these numbers always change. So we want to give you like the accurate number that we actually gave out for tracking purposes. So we're not lying to you guys about these profits here.
Right.
And then we're gonna take David Montgomery for for 40 plus rushing yards as well. When we get there. I considered Miles Sanders in this, but it was just a lot more juiced up. So I went David Montgomery. I think this is going to be a big run game here for the Bills, for the Bears. So against the Bills. What's his regular number? 49.5. Yeah, so we're going to go 40 plus instead. We'll tone that down.
Okay, we're gonna.
Yeah.
All right. All right.
Plus 974. We had plus 1003 last night, so. Went down a little bit, but all good.
A little bit, not too bad. Putting a
plus
half unit on this, or what are we doing?
I'm actually gonna I'm gonna up the ante. I'm gonna use that $50 free bet from Thursday night on this one.
Oh shit! Okay, $50.
We're gonna see what the fuck that makes us. What's 50 get us here? Yeah, so look, guys. I mean, if you don't have the free bet, like if you weren't with us on Thursday, we got the free bet on FanDuel from the same game parlay that didn't hit. So I'm ripping it. I got to use it at some point. I like this play here.
If you just go half unit on this, you're still getting almost 5 units in return.
Yeah, so like play it however you want. If you don't have that free bet, maybe a unit, half unit, whatever you want to do. These are safer plays. Like I think DK is going to get a ton of targets. JJ is going to get a ton of targets, and then these running backs they can hit these numbers with these pretty much. So,
right.
Then we got our Bears plus 14.5. This is the little teaser.
Oh yeah, this is our yeah.
So for the first couple of weeks, I always do this. Like before we started doing the show, I would always make my own teasers. Like I would just do alternate spreads, alternate totals, do what I'm feeling, pick like 5 or 6 every week and see what happens. And I won quite a few of them in my day. But ever since we started doing the show, I was doing these classical teasers where you're on a 6-point rope for every game you pick or whatever points you choose. And I thought about it last week and I was like, why are we doing that when I can build my own? Like I've been having success doing my whole life.
You just went to the BYOT, build your own teaser.
Exactly. So I did that last week and it cashed us out. So we're going back to that again. We got the Bears plus 14.5. Yep. Yeah, just make sure you're on the right side. That shit gets tricky when you're doing these alt spreads. They used to have it set up way better than that. I don't know why they updated to that. But
yeah, I wish it would be just like wherever the middle is, like make that the closest thing, and then like you can go either direction from there. But instead, it's like, hey, the stupidest thing possible, and then you can dig and find something that's rational. But yeah,
it used to just be set up completely better anyway. But we got a Seahawks plus 17.5. Keep that one close-ish against the Chiefs at least. They could win that thing though. Won't be surprised. Jay's got the Seahawks.
Yeah. You said 17.5?
Yep.
Yeah, see, like look,
Right
it
at
starts
that
at
key number.
it starts at plus 35.5. Like what? Come on now. All right, so plus 17.5. All right, next.
Then we got the Commanders Niners over 33.5.
Yeah, see, and the other thing that's good about this is you get to play with your odds, where like you might not want to tease a game as much because you want to get the better money. But sometimes you're like, you know what, I don't feel super confident about this, so let me take the hit on the juice just to make sure that I hit my number. So that
Yo,
this
real
parlay
quick,
hit.
I want to answer this question because this is a good question here. So SPG just
No.
asked, I'm new to this. Are you guys really betting 25 cents on these? So when we put 25 cents there, that's showing you a quarter of a unit, assuming $1
Yeah.
is a unit. So if you're a $10 better, that would be a $2.50 bet. Like
If you're
that's
$100
one
better,
where
that's
we're
a
not.
$25 bet.
It's a
Yeah.
$25 bet if you're a $100 better. Yeah, that's like us just tracking our units. So the easiest way to tell somebody how many units they're going to make from a pick is by making the unit $1. So we're just like for a regular play, we'll put a 1 in there and it'll show us 15. So that means if you're a $25 better, if you want to put 25 on it, you're making 15 times 25 on the investment. So that's kind of what we're showing. It's just an easy way to show it. But no, we're not betting only 25 cents on this. I might put, every once in a while, I'll throw down, like, if I have 25 cents chilling in the account, like if it's like 60, 25, I'm like, let me make this even and throw down some stupid shit for 25 cents. I've done it, but that's just a way for us to track it and show you guys, because if I'm a $25 better, but everyone listening bets $5 on every bet, it makes no sense for me to say, yo, we made $1,000 this week. That's what all the fucking guys on Twitter do and everything, right? But yeah, you made $1,000 on $200 bets or whatever you were betting, and I only bet $5, so that means nothing to me. Tell me how many units you went up. What is your bet, and how much profit did you make on that? What's your ROI? This is just an easy way for us to explain that quickly using a $1 unit rather than a $50 unit. Then it just takes more. It's more technical,
But
so
thank you.
That's my best explanation. What do you got?
Thank you for joining. And if you like what you're seeing, keep coming back and tell a friend to tell a friend. Share the show
definitely. But yeah, no, that's a great question. Because I think that could get confusing. I can see why that gets confusing. So yeah, no, great question. Anything else you want to add on that explanation, Chad? Or
I was just go ahead and go to the next pick.
Yeah, okay. Where are we at? We just did the Commanders Niners over?
Yep.
So yeah, next one is Pat's 7.5 plus 7.5. If we're keeping that, are we doing that? Locking it in?
Yeah, I mean,
I'm down. Whatever.
The dogs barked.
That's true.
You don't
kind of got to ride now, right? When the dogs are barking, you got to ride.
When the dogs bark in the background, you got to go with it. Especially if they start barking while I'm building this. Oh wait, I went wrong thing.
Right. Where the dogs at? Come on.
That's right. All right, so where were we at? 7.5, right?
Yeah.
For the Pat.
Yep. Right over a touchdown.
Oh, that's Bengals.
See,
I see what you're saying. Yeah,
that shit gets fucking tricky, man.
Right.
They had it set up so much better before. Like they updated it at some point this season, and I don't like it, but whatever.
Right.
We ride.
And then there's one leg one leg left, right?
Yeah, Lions minus 2.5.
Where is that? Right here. Oh, you just had the straight up line. All right.
Yeah, I just used the straight up on this one.
Yeah, see, and that's what I was saying. Like that, if you don't want to eat a bunch of juice because you like the line where it is, you can still. That's why building your own teaser is better than.
Yeah, I don't know why I was doing that teasers. I was like, oh, we're doing a show. Let me do like actual teasers and like try to win a couple of these. And I'm like, dude, what am I doing? I win these all the time ever since sports betting's been legal in Jersey and everything. I've been winning.
We dropping a unit on this
myself. So we're dropping $1, a $1 play. Shout out SBG. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just messing with you, bro, because that was a really good question. So we appreciate you asking that. So
if we're $100 better, we're dropping $100 on this and winning 700. So like that's
bet whatever you're comfortable with though. If you are a $1 better, we're not making fun of you at all. Like, you know what I mean? That is dude. At the end of the day, what we're trying to say is you're up 60 units. So if you're a $1 better, you're up $60 this year. That's good in the last couple.
If you're $100 better, you're up $6,000.
Yeah. So do what you're comfortable with. Do what you're comfortable with losing. There's going to be bad days. There's going to be good days. But yeah. I'm actually going to rip it.
To your point, let me interrupt you right there. So to your point, since SPG is new. What AG is getting at, that's 60 units. That's real. Like we have since week 7, week 6.
We've tracked since week
we have
7. We've tracked every loss and every win, every single thing we've given out, and you're up
we are
60
up
units
60
on everything
units.
we said.
So if you bet $100 on every bet that you make, if that's your 1 unit, you're up $6,000.
Yeah, and that's not betting $100 on everything. Some of those bets are $25 bets, like we just showed you with the 25 cents in the thing. Right. So, basically, based on our recommendations, you would be up that amount. But bet what you're comfortable with. If you're comfortable with betting $25 today, put $5 bets down. Like however you want to. I'm not going to tell you what to do with your money, but bet what you're comfortable with. You're new to this, so don't just go crazy and blow your cash, because there's going to be a bad day. And if this happens to be the bad day, you don't want to blow your bankroll on the first day that you just joined us. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to tell you that I'm going to be profitable every single day. I will not be. But consistently we will be. So if you stick around regardless, but you get my point. I think you seem like an intelligent individual. That was a great question. And you also said that makes sense immediately. So I don't think I need to over-explain it to you anymore. But no, great question, man. Seriously, because that's great clarification there. Shout out to my boy Sammy real quick. He said, "Merry Christmas, boys. Merry Christmas to you too,
indeed,
bro. I'll see you next week. We're doing a little Secret Santa next week, so I'll be seeing him."
Oh, there you go.
But yeah, so I'm actually gonna rip it. If you were tailing us last weekend on FanDuel and you opted in for that promo they were doing, where you get free bets back, a percentage of free bets back. If you if you lose the leg, if you lose the parlay by one leg, and we lost a few parlays by one leg, so I actually got rewarded with $123 free bet from FanDuel. So I'm gonna rip it on this little teaser guy here. Bet whatever you want. I would recommend maybe a 1 unit play, maybe a half unit, depends how you feel, but I'm going to rip this $123 free bet because why not? And Chad left, so he can't write the 123 in to show you exactly how much I'd be making right now. But so yeah, I don't know. But when Chad gets back, he'll probably put that out there. But that's about all I had in terms of those plays. We also have, obviously we got our Falcons under 14.5. We've got that Justin Fields for 60 rushing, Josh Allen for 40 rushing, and both to score a touchdown at plus 1357, which we might throw like a little half unit, quarter unit on. I will confirm all of the bets on our Twitter if you follow us at moo_sports. The link is in the description box right there. If you just want to link over, even if you don't use Twitter or have Twitter, you can still go view all of our tweets from that link. Right after we get off of this, I will confirm all of the picks in case you got here late or joined in the middle or didn't catch all of it. So we'll make that happen. Chad, real quick for the people, show them how much 123 is going to make us on that.
My bad.
In case anybody has like a same or similar amount of this free bet that they haven't used yet from FanDuel, I'm using a lot of free bets today because we got them from the book. So
851.
Yeah, so I'm gonna try to cash out today for us, for me. But then we got our Justin Jefferson and DK parlay as well that I'm gonna confirm on the units. I got Texans money line. It'll all be on Twitter if you joined late and didn't catch all of the picks.
Yeah, check out the Twitter. As he said, it's in the description. So check it out there. And remember, like we were talking about a minute ago, this is always a shout out to our boy John Ryan, who says, bet with your head, not over it. It's always important. Like that's why we do this stuff in the unit space that we do, is because we know this is a grind. If you try to put all your chips in the middle of the table because you think you got a guaranteed winner that's going to make you $1 million or whatever, chances are you're about to lose all your money. So we don't. I will say
most times that I've said guarantee or lock, it ain't going my way. I try to stay away from using those words now. I don't know if it's a double jinx or if I'm just, but anytime you hear anybody say this is a fucking lock, I might want to think twice. Now there is some like DK Metcalf, JJ today is a fucking. No, I won't.
This guy's crazy. But no, we appreciate y'all. Listen, we first and foremost, we want to tell everybody, y'all have a
happy holidays,
a Merry Christmas, happy holidays, happy New Year, and everything. We're gonna be here before the New Year, but y'all enjoy time with your family and everything, and enjoy watching the games today, and best of luck betting, because again, we're doing this. This is for fun. Like this is not something where we are we're out here trying to become quadrillionaires overnight. We're grinding while we have fun. It gives us a little bit of extra interest in the games and everything, but we want to do it right. We want to try to make this to where you're not adding to your frustration watching some of these games. We want you to win. We want you to start building that bread up. So anyway, we appreciate y'all for coming through. And like AG said, always check out the Twitter because he's going to have some more plays. And then it helps too to see them laid out.
To just see it all laid out. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Appreciate you, SBG. Thank you for coming out.
We'll figure out a way for like next season. We'll figure out a way to do these lives and actually have like the tab. Like I'll get into all that editing stuff during the off season, bro. We'll be back for better production next year, but we're working with what we got right now, making some money while we do it. But yeah, shout out SBG. Anytime, man. Anytime. If you got questions, feel free to leave a comment. I'll get back to you on any of the videos. Even if it's just some random question that has nothing to do with the video, but if it's sports betting question or anything, I'll get back to you. Give a follow on Twitter if you're on there as well, man. And we appreciate you tuning in.
Mm-hmm. Appreciate y'all.
Happy holidays, everybody. Best of luck betting. And maybe there'll be some extra Christmas presents under the tree by tomorrow morning from today, right?
Go. That's right. Peace, y'all. Y'all enjoy. Peace.